Britain's views on transgender rights have seen a big shift. Let's break down where the public stands in 2024 and 2025. 1. Scepticism towards transgender rights has grown. It's not just a political issue anymore. Public opinion has cooled even among groups who used to be more open, like young people and women. 2. So how many Britons actually think you should be able to change your gender? Just under half, 49%, believe you should be able to socially identify as a different gender, but only 34% support making that change legal. The public is nearly split between those who think you should be able to change both social and legal gender, and those who think you shouldn't be able to change either. 3. Should it be easier to change your legal gender? Most say no. Only 19% support making the process easier. Most want doctors involved, a panel's approval, and a 2-year wait to make the change official. 4. What about NHS support for gender-affirming treatments? The public tends to be against it. 57% oppose gender reassignment surgery through the NHS, and 51% say the same for hormone treatments. When it comes to kids under 16, a huge majority, up to 87%, oppose surgery, and most also oppose puberty blockers or hormone treatments for those under 16. 5. Should transgender people be allowed access to gendered spaces like toilets and changing rooms? There's a lot of resistance, especially for transgender women in women's spaces. More than half of Britons say trans women should not be allowed in women's toilets, changing rooms, or refuges. 6. Transgender participation in sports. Again, most Britons are against it. 74% don't think trans women should compete in women's sporting events, and 60% say the same for trans men in men's sports. 7. Attitudes break down by age, gender, and politics. Younger people and women are more permissive, as are Labour and Lib Dem voters. But even within these groups, support for trans rights isn't universal, and on many issues, scepticism prevails. 8. How many Britons actually know a transgender person? About 38%. Younger people are more likely to know someone who's trans, and knowing a transgender person does make someone more likely to support trans rights. But even then, support for some issues, like sports participation, stays low. 9. And finally, even among those who support both social and legal gender change, support doesn't always extend to all transgender rights. For example, only about a third think trans women should play in women's sports, and even fewer want to see the legal process made easier. So where does Britain stand in 2024? The conversation around transgender rights is more visible than ever, but the public mood is cautious, with increasing skepticism across most parts of society. Conclusion. Skepticism on transgender rights has increased across the board over the last 2 years in the UK, including among those groups typically more sympathetic to trans people. This explains the current debates in the country, and makes Britain a laggard among Western countries of the European continent. 11 have legalised gender autodetermination, which is very much far off the cards in the UK. The sentiment towards transgender people has constantly been degrading since 2013, when, on the contrary, the UK was among the progressive countries. Sign of times? If you've got thoughts on this, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thanks for watching.